Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show on Park City TV. We're here with Tom Kelly. Tom, thank you for coming on the show.
Hey,
Tom is the former communications director for the U.S. ski and snowboard team. He's been to 10 Olympics, and I'm looking forward to hear some stories and some of the evolution of what you've seen over the years.
Oh, I got a lot of stories. Welcome to Park City, JT. Actually, how
here.
was your winter, by the way?
We had an unbelievable March. It just turned on and it set us straight for the rest of the year. We were a little lean before that, but I tell you what, when conditions are kind of average or a little better than average, you got a whole private ski resort to yourself. It's wonderful.
You really do. I was out at Squaw in April, and I love skiing out there, and we had a really good time. You know, here it was interesting. We didn't have maybe as much snow, and I think those of us who are locals were kind of bummed, we didn't have all those powder runs. But you talk to the guests, and the surface conditions were great all season long. So it was really a fun season. The way I look at any time you're out on skis, I don't care if it's raining or windy or surface conditions are not great. It's just fun to be out there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Just having wind in your face and going up and down the hills, that's what I live for.
Totally. Now, did you watch a little Olympics?
I did. I watched a little bit of the Olympics.
I'm curious. I'm anxious to tell a few stories, but I'm curious, what were some of your favorite stories from the Olympics?
I was very inspired by Shaun White's run.
Yeah.
That was just, there's only one strategy in men's halfpipe, and that is just full gas.
Yeah.
Lay it all on the line, because anything less than that, your best ever performance is not going to win. And some of the other disciplines, I saw people, playing it smart. That you want to get a medal. You want to ski smart, ride smart, and be strategic. But there's only one strategy in men's halfpipe.
Yeah, no, you're right on with that. The Shaun story is really quite remarkable. But I want to tell that story over the course of really 15 or 20 years. And I remember back in 2002, before the Olympics here in Salt Lake City, Shaun was a 15-year-old, and he was actually on the cusp of making the team. It was really, really close. We had the final determining qualifier of the Grand Prix event in Breckenridge, and he was right in it. And then this local kid, JJ Thomas, beat him out for a spot. JJ went on to get the bronze medal, and interestingly enough, as things turned around years later, JJ Thomas was Shaun White's coach in Pyeongchang, and really one of the key components to Shaun winning that gold medal. I look at Shaun right now, and I look at someone who has rebranded himself. Sochi was frankly, it was a disaster for Shaun. He bailed out of the slopestyle event. He finished fourth. He just couldn't put down that big run, that you say you got to put down. Just couldn't do it with the weather conditions. But he completely retooled his whole operation. He came to Pyeongchang as a different person, and being with him that day, and taking that first run lead, losing it in the second run, and then having to come back with this sensational third run. Those tears were genuine for Shaun White.
Absolutely. And another come from behind halfpipe story is David Wise from Reno Tahoe.
Yeah.
I mean, he had no points on the board, essentially, because his ski had come off the first two runs, as I recall.
Yeah.
And then third run, got out the screwdriver, tightened up those bindings, and stepped up to the plate and came home with the gold.
Yeah, David is a remarkable story. I really like him. He's a great family guy. He loves the outdoors, hunting and fishing, and but boy, there's nobody like him in the halfpipe. And in the halfpipe, the way they do it, and I really like this form of competition, you get 3 runs and they take your best, so anything can happen in that third and final run. I looked at Kelly Clark. She's another one 4 years ago in Sochi. She was completely out of the medals. Her teammates were up in the medal position, and she had to come back on her third and final run to do it, just like David Wise did. It is so hard to defend a gold medal. Jamie Anderson did that in women's slopestyle snowboarding, but it's so hard to defend that gold medal. And David Wise, total disaster on his first 2 runs. Then he comes through and he gets his second gold.
Yeah, I mean, talk about performing under pressure and just keeping a cool head, and putting it behind you, and getting it done.
Yeah.
Now, Korea, it looked cold and windy.
It was, but but I remind people, it's the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, okay,
it's not real. But it was that first week in particular. The wind was a real issue, and it impacted a few events. For sure, it impacted the women's slopestyle snowboarding. They cut it down to just 2 runs, and that really wasn't fair. Jamie Anderson did get the win, but it really wasn't a fair way to do that competition. It also impacted the schedule in Alpine, and I think was really partly responsible for Michaela Schifrin not winning another medal. Michaela winning a gold and a silver. I mean, phenomenal Olympics. But when that schedule got juggled because of the wind that first week, it really did impact her. But it was super windy. Second week was really much better. But I had a great time in Pyeongchang. It was a good Olympics, really good venue. So all of the venues, the pipe, the slope, the alpine courses, everything was spectacular. Cross country is one of my favorite sports, and of course winning that gold medal in the team sprint with Jessie Diggins and Keegan Randall was a real treat. A lot of tears from a lot of us that night.
There was one other story that I thought was just amazingly cool, and it was almost like the Sean Palmer type story. There was a gal who won a medal in snowboarding and in skiing.
Yeah, that was Esther Ledet.
There it is. There's the
Czech
name.
Republic.
Thank you. Yes.
She's an amazing story, and all of us in sport have been watching her, and it was on everybody's mind. I mean, the reality of it was it could never happen, but it did. And I think the day of the women's Super G, Lindsey Vonn had been the favorite. Lindsey ran number 1 that day, first one down the course, and she made a mistake on the second to last gate and lost a lot of time. And we knew that her day was pretty much over, and we just sat there watching. And Esther Ledet came down, I think, in 26th or 27th start position, and man, she's like in there. She's in there at every split. And I'm watching Lindsey over in the finish area, and she's like, wow, this is really amazing. And I know her coach, Justin Reiter, who is actually from Steamboat Springs and has lived here in Park City quite a bit. And I was standing with him in the finish, and the emotions, he is her snowboarding coach. The emotion that he had just watching, the tears, because he saw this is real. She could do this, because now her specialty's coming up. No one thought she'd win the women's Super G. Are you kidding me? But she did, and she ended up picking up an amazing ski snowboard double. I'm imagining this will never happen again.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it happened because, every year in these sports the bar gets raised and raised, and the competitiveness is just extremely elite, and that means that the specialists are the ones that thrive.
Yeah.
And in this case, she was a specialist at both, apparently.
It was really fun.
So you've witnessed, you've been in the finish area for 70 medals over the course of 10 Olympics.
Yeah.
Do you have an all-time Olympic favorite, just most cherished moment?
Well, I do now, and I'll work my way up to that, and most people who know me know what that moment is. But I didn't have one. I had many. I think as I look back, Peekaboo Street was someone who was very special to me, and I was there for her first World Championship medal and her Olympic gold in '98, and that one was very special. Being with Tommy Moe in 1994 when he won the gold medal was just a remarkable experience. So there are many stories like that. But to pick a penultimate favorite is always hard, but it was the team sprint, gold medal from Keegan Randall and Jessie Diggins. I think part of it was the fact that I've been involved in cross-country skiing for 30, 40 years, so I've seen the whole history. I worked with Bill Koch in 1976 when he won a silver medal. So we've been waiting for this medal. We've been waiting for the medal. Not only did we get a medal, we got a gold medal. And being so close, being right on the finish line and right there in the heat of it with so many friends who had also worked so hard to help build this team, that's one that's it's going to be very special to me. And I don't think there'll ever be another moment that will replace what we felt that night in the cross-country stadium in Alpensia.
That sounds awesome.
That was amazing.
Man, that's really pretty amazing. Cool. I've only one time went to the Olympics, and that was here in Salt Lake City in 2002.
How old were you then?
I was 22.
Yeah.
I watched Johnny Moseley get a fourth place finish, but he did that dinner roll, which then essentially rewrote the book, the rule book for freestyle skiing. And when I grew up on the Squaw Valley freestyle team watching Johnny, and I mean, his older brothers were awesome, unbelievable talents, but we all knew Johnny was the golden boy.
Yeah.
And when I watched his 1998 Nagano run, it was as though it was a rerun for me.
Yeah.
Because I knew exactly what was going to go down and that he was going to get that gold medal. And I tell you what, I get to ski with Johnny quite a bit, and he's still ripping. He takes good care of himself, and he's still passionate about skiing. He's still having fun with his skiing, and he's an Olympic medalist and an athlete that I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, he's amazing. You know, I don't think there's any other Olympic medalist who has really kept his passion and engagement as long as Johnny has, and he's still every bit as excited about the sport as he was back in 1998, 20 years ago when he won that medal. You know, though, you did bring up the point on the dinner roll, and I think Johnny is often remembered for his 1998 gold. Why wouldn't he be? But I remember Johnny for that dinner roll and what he did. He more or less sacrificed a medal. He did a trick that he knew the judges were not going to like because it was borderline on the rules, but he did it to change his sport, and he completely transformed freestyle skiing. And really, it was that moment that didn't just transform mogul skiing, it really was the forerunner of what we see in free ski today. And it all goes back to that one run right here at Deer Valley, Johnny Moseley in 2002.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, to be an athlete that wins a bunch of medals and championships is one thing, but to be an athlete that has actually taken the course of history of the sport, taken that steering wheel, turned it over here. Right on. That's a rare thing.
It really is. It
very
really
rare.
is, and it's just fun to see it. And you know, you've been fortunate to live that out in Squaw Valley, and you know, it's one of the reasons I like going to Squaw Valley. There's so much passion for the sport, and it's just a big mountain. You know, and you look at athletes like Julia Mancuso and what she's gained by skiing that big mountain, and Johnny Moseley and so many others.
Yep. Thank you for the props to Squaw Valley. We sure do love it there.
I love it out there.
And 1960 Winter Olympics host. That was probably before your time, but it sounded to me like the Squaw Valley Olympics were fairly special because everything was in one valley.
It was, and you know, it's never really been repeated like that. And they were special for me. I was 7 years old growing up in Madison, Wisconsin. I'd never seen skiing. I didn't know what skiing was. All of a sudden, Mom put the Olympics on television. I'm watching, and I remember to this day Penny Patu coming down and winning the silver medal in the downhill, and I was hooked. And I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to go skiing. I didn't have friends that skied, but it's just something as a 7-year-old that kind of ticked in my mind, and I just kind of followed my pathway. But that's where my whole career emanates from those Squaw Valley Olympics.
And a great career it has been. What's next for Tom Kelly?
Well, I'm doing a lot of storytelling. I love to tell stories of the Olympics, so I'm doing a lot of public speaking and bring along with me some of our great Olympic athletes, and just trying to stay involved in the Olympic world, doing communications work. And I'm 1 week out from my departure from U.S. Ski and Snowboard, and having a blast right now. Got a big party for a lot of friends coming up tomorrow out at our place in Silver Creek, and just had a fun career, and it's going to keep going.
Well, we're happy for you, and we appreciate you coming on the Mountain Morning Show here.
Happy to.
Yeah, congratulations on a great career and more epic moments to come.
Great. Thanks, JT.
Thank you.
Okay, man.
And we're going to take a break. We'll be back with Andrew McLean.